Let me put this straight. If your IELTS Writing Task 1 report is missing an overview, it will be very hard for you to get a band score of 7 or above. A clear overview is a must for a high IELTS writing score. In this video, I'm going to briefly explain what an overview is, and more importantly, I'm going to show you how to write an overview for a line graph, a pie chart, a diagram, and a map. So all in all, you'll see 4 different overviews. Okay, without any further ado, let's dive right into it. Hi guys, this is Rustam from Ace IELTS, and I created this channel to help you ace the test and get the score you want so that you can follow your dreams. In its simple terms, an overview is a summary of what you see. As many of you already know, in the IELTS Writing Task 1, you'll be given a visual to describe. The visual may be in the form of a line graph, a bar chart, a pie chart, a map, or a diagram showing a process, or maybe a combination of two. So, when writing an overview, you need to summarize the main trends or changes. You only need to write about the main features and exclude any details. This means you don't need to present any data in your overview. This is important. If you have more than one visual to describe, your overview needs to summarize them both. Because an overview describes the overall picture of what you see, it should appear right after the introduction, and I'd recommend you to write your overview as a separate paragraph. An overview is a summary, so it should be short and clear. 1 or 2 sentences would do. Although in some rare cases you might want to write 3 sentences, I don't think it should be any longer than that. Okay, and now let's move on to how to write an overview. And first of all, we're going to look at how to write an overview for a line graph. So, this line graph shows the percentage of music sales by method between 2011 and 2018. And we can see that there are 3 ways to purchase music. So through CDs, downloads, and streams. As you already know, in an overview, you need to write about the main trends, right? So, what trends do you notice here? Do you see an upward or a downward trend? To understand if the trend is upward or downward, look at its starting point here and finishing point. So if the finishing point is above its starting point, like here, so the finishing point is at 40, it's much higher, it's much above than its starting point, right? So then we say that the trend was upward. If the finishing point is lower or below its starting point here, then we say this trend is downward. So in this example, as you can see, there are 2 general trends, upward and downward. As you can see, the trend for streams here, right, went up, and the one for CD purchases went down. Alright, and this is how you may start your overview. So you could say, overall, the trend for streams went up considerably, while that for CDs was clearly the opposite, right? So this one went up considerably, while the one for CDs was clearly the opposite. It means it went down. The percentage of downloads also dropped despite an insignificant increase in the first 3 years. So if you look here at the red line, so the first 3 years there was some increase, but it was not very significant. But despite this increase, the trend went downward, right? And it reached like what, 30 in 2018, so which is below its starting point. So this is all you need for a complete overview. Now let's take a look at how to write an overview for a pie chart or pie charts. So here you can see one example. These pie charts show the time spent on smartphones and tablets for different purposes, given here. Now, what information stands out from these two charts? We can notice that playing games, 35% and 57 here, and social networking, 29 here, 15 here. So we can notice that these two things are the two most popular uses of both smartphones and tablets. Also, we can see that the figures for other reasons are quite different, right? So here's how our overview may look like. So we can begin by saying, in general, it's clear that the two top reasons for using smartphones and tablets are playing games and using social media. However, the figures for the other purposes vary significantly. That's all you need for two pie charts like this. Next, let's take a look at the process. So, here we're going to look at how to write an overview for a process, also known as a diagram. Here's a simple process. Take some time to study it carefully. Pause the video if necessary. Now, I should say that an overview for a process would be different from an overview for a line graph or a pie chart. In this case, it would be helpful to say how many stages the process involves, and also mention what the starting and finishing steps are. So, in our case, this is a recycling process which shows the steps used to recycle cans, right? And we can see that the process starts with the disposal of used cans and it finishes with reusing the cans. And that there are 7 steps, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. So there are 7 steps altogether. So your overview might look like this. Overall, there are 7 steps in the recycling process. It starts with the used cans being disposed of in the special containers for aluminium cans, and it finishes with reusing the cans. According to the information, the rate of reusing in the UK seems to be high at 74%. Well, this third sentence is optional. You may mention this or may not. It's not mandatory, I should say. I would also like to add that passive voice comes in really handy when describing processes, so it's worth reviewing how to make and use passive structures. I guess that's it about processes. Let's now look at the final one for today, a map. So, one more visual that you could be given to describe in the IELTS Task 1 is a map. Let's take a look at this sample map. Just like with all other overviews, try to notice the key features that stand out. In this case, what are some of the major changes that have taken place on the map? If you notice quite a few big changes, then you could sum things up by writing a pretty general overview like this. So, I've given you 2 overviews here. So, we can see that in general, it can be seen that a few significant changes took place in Frenton, or in the town of Frenton, between 1990 and 2012. That would really be enough. Or, you could say something like this. Overall, the town of Frenton underwent some major transformations over the period, with new and more accommodation options added. Personally, I like the second overview more because it not only tells us that there's some significant changes have taken place, but it also mentions what those changes are. So it's always a good idea to say what the changes are if you're describing a map. Well, that's all I have for this video. In this video, we've looked at how to write an overview for a line graph, a pie chart, a process, and a map. I hope you found it helpful and you now know how to write a good overview and you will never forget to write 1 in your IELTS Task 1 report. If you found this video helpful, give it a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already done so. And let me know in the comment section if you have any questions, and feel free to reach out to me directly. Thanks for watching this video and have a nice day. I'll see you in my next videos.